He's in a cell 23 hours a day and is taken in shackles to exercise inside a cage for 1 hour each day.
Sometimes prisons respond to potential physical harassment by placing those high-profile prisoners into solitary confinement, like Brian Koberger, where he is in his cell alone for 23 hours a day. While this may remove the immediate physical threat from other prisoners, it replaces it with the psychological torment of isolation. Extended solitary confinement like that has been shown to cause sensory deprivation, disorientation, and an increased risk of depression and suicidal ideation. For some, the lengthy absence of social contact is as damaging as the harassment itself. There is empirical psychological research that supports the conclusion that life without the possibility of parole can be more psychologically damaging than a death sentence. But why do you think that is? Yes, these studies have found that prisoners serving life terms without parole report higher rates of hopelessness, chronic depression, and suicidal thoughts compared to those on death row. The continuous erosion of their mental health for decades can represent a more profound form of suffering than the short-term distress of waiting for an execution. Yes, it seems that Brian Koberger gravely underestimated what prison was going to be like for him.
They don't see him as a welcomed guest in their house, and that's how they see it. This is their facility. The corrections officers is just make sure that he's not physically harmed. They can't control the psychological aspect of this.
Life without parole is often presented as a humane alternative to the death penalty. However, Brian didn't seem to take into account that everyone's experience in prison can vary drastically. This can especially be the case with how high profile the prisoner is and also what type of crime they committed.
What?
Someone like Brian, who's extremely high profile and who's also the scum of the earth, yeah, he's going to have a really rough time in prison.
Your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival.
There are about 32 inmates apparently in the J block currently. They are the worst of the worst.
In a maximum security lockdown, these guys would all be the worst of the worst, but I guess you can always be worse.
In Koberger's case, his sentence ensures he will likely remain under constant confinement for the rest of his life, subjected to ongoing stressors that may include verbal harassment, disrupted sleep, and constant isolation.
The inmates have come up with a creative idea in harassing him to the point where, it's basically driving him crazy.
Follow for more.